we got reports that WWE was sold to Saudi Arabia, allegedly. Nothing has been confirmed by WWE as of yet. WWE has been sold to Saudi Arabia, PIF. The company will go back to being private. Unknown if Vince McMahon will return to head of creative, but it is expected by some people, and that's why I have a problem, ladies and gentlemen. I do not want Vince McMahon to be part of any content creative team at all. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been some of the best storyline in wrestling in the past 20 years. What Triple H did in NXT, you know he has a thing for content because he's been a wrestler at the highest stages. I believe he's a 13-time or 14-time world champion. So he knows how to connect with the crowd, whether you are the babyface or the heel. He knows how to do that. He knows how to do that so well that he did that in NXT. NXT, he created. That's his baby, per se. And we saw how NXT was doing. Matter of fact, NXT had some of the best storylines, the better wrestlers, the better fans, because they were so in tune in to what that product had to bring. It wasn't less, how can I say, it was less Hollywood compared to WWE. That's why NXT, honestly, NXT had no competition regarding the main roster. If I'd be perfectly honest, NXT was battling AEW because they already knew that the main roster was no match. But did Vince care? No. And you know he didn't care because anytime the NXT talent was to transfer over to WWE, depending who you are, Vince buried them on live television and got them kicked out of the company. The last person I recall him doing that to was Killian Cross. If Vince is going to stay in the business side, the corporate side, yeah, that's cool. But we all know that's not the case. He's going to want full creative control if he decides to stay after this alleged deal. Let's see. Let's continue. Cassidy Haynes from BodySlam.net says, for what it's worth, I'm told the Saudi deal is done and they're taking the company private. Now, what does this reported sale means for the rest of the company is also hard to fathom if it is true that Vince would ever come on with a deal that didn't reinstall him as the overlord of the TV product. Oh, God. Unless a Saudi bid, if there is one, is so much higher than any other entity would have dreamed of matching, he could have gotten several billions from a host of bidders, but at least a few of them would have insisted on keeping the current creative and production team. Given WWE's recent upswing after Vince's departure, in terms of viewers and overall feelings from both fans and wrestlers, whether the product is that much better is in the eyes of the beholder. And just the idea that Vince may come back and go back to how it used to be, absolutely not. You are going to turn off a lot of fans, a lot of wrestlers. I will not be seeing a lot of people from NXT coming to the roster. Matter of fact, if you ask me, that's one of the main reasons why Adam Cole left the WWE. Because he saw how Vince treated the NXT stars. He said, no, you're not about to do that to me. No, I'm about to go to AEW. Let's continue. As for everything else, who knows what happens to a host of the performers if indeed the Saudis are now the new bosses. LGBTQ plus wrestlers certainly are a concern. Same goes for the women wrestler, some of whom have performed on Saudi shows in the past, but full-blown Saudi ownership is a different kettle of fish. Or the wrestlers like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and John Cena, who have either refused to go to the Saudi shows or were not allowed, like Sami, due to his Syrian ethnicity or both. Because of that, Saudi Arabia, whoever was in charge, they did not want Sami Zayn there. Kevin Owens, being his best friend, said, if Sami ain't coming, I ain't coming either. And of course, there's some other political stuff, and that's one of the reasons why Daniel Bryan didn't go. And that's going to be interesting. That's really going to be interesting. When it comes, especially when it comes to LGBTQ, ladies and gentlemen, see, I tell people that's a Western thing. And to a degree, that's a European thing as well. Anywhere else, you're risking life and death. No one should be surprised that one of the worst people on earth has reportedly done one of the worst things possible. Like, I understand business is business. How can I say this? Their civil rights are about to be violated. As a firm believer of God, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, let me touch on the LGBT a cute thing. Is that a lifestyle that I condone? Is that a lifestyle I promote? No. But at the same time, they are human beings as well. Those are still God's children. You're taking away their right to choose, their will, and that's something that God gave us. And I do legit feel sad for the wrestlers like Sonya Deville, who's probably the only one that comes to my mind at this moment. That's not fair to people like Sonya, not even a little bit. So I do feel sorry for her. Sammy has never performed in the Middle East because of his ethnicity. If this sale is true, this sale go through, a lot of people's civil rights are going to be violated. A lot of people's free will is going to be violated. You ask me if this is why Stephanie McMahon decided to resign as CEO of WWE, I don't blame her. Not even a little bit.